Now I'm going to show you how to create a report based upon the table created in the previous video. Normally the report would be based upon a query, and it might be the case this year, but this was just a way I found of calculating which place they came in. There are other ways, and we will practice other ways. So the first thing to do for this report is just create blank reports. And then if I go to design view, I'm going to go to report design view, you can see I've got my page header. It's quite normal in the header. If I go to the design ribbon, always make sure a label for text. It's quite normal for them to ask you to put your name and your center number and your candidate number, center name and your candidate name as well, etc. And they'll normally also ask you, if you want a new line in a label, hold down shift and enter. They'll normally ask you as well, like for the activity number, just make sure you copy whatever they've asked you. Activity number, it will normally be 5. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to save my report, Control S, call it RPT certificate. There we go. And then I'm going to, in the detail, I want this to look like a certificate. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually I'm going to take my report properties, go to my properties, report properties, and I'm going to just right click there. Record source is going to be TBL for certificate. By doing that, you can see now, if I look at add existing fields, I've got all of the fields that exist on my table. So I'm now going to add to my form. I want 4. I'm going to have drag all of them over, click all of them and just drag them across. If I want to separate the label from the text box it comes with, I just do Control X and then Control V, and you can see then they're separated, so it makes it much easier to work with them. Control V and just do this again, just do that for all of them. It's a bit fiddly otherwise. Control X, Control V, Control X, Control V. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have another blank text box, but I'm going to write a formula in. So I'm just going to create a blank text box, because instead of, at the moment, if I look at this, if I just go to report view, looks a bit rubbish at the moment, but we've got the place 1 at establishment number of votes, and I actually want the text to say place first. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go to design view, and in this box I'm going to use an if statement. So it begins with equals if, and it's double if, open brackets, and what I'm checking is to see if place equals 1, then I want the text to say first. Otherwise, if a nested if, place, don't forget the square brackets because it's a text field, if place equals 2, then second. Otherwise, it's going to be third, because if it isn't, it's only going to be the first 3. That's all we're going to have in our table. So just do this and just check that works. Just going to go to report view. Yep, that's working well. So just go back to design view. I'm going to drag these down, and I'm going to say add a nice little title. Okay. Certificates, inter-school music, and certificate inter-school music, and we're just going to make that look, I'm going to actually put that on a new line, so hold down and shift and make that centered, and then I'm going to highlight the text, go back to home, let's have a look at better text for this, make it look a bit more like a certificate, so 20 maybe. And then I'm going to go down to here, make this go down. I'm actually just going to go to layout view to have a look, because then I can actually see how things are looking. But first I want so if I just go to layout view, and I'm going to, I would like this to be, so this is first, and instead of having the text there, I'm going to bring this over here. And I'm going to say place, actually I don't want that field because I've got the, So just moving those along. First place, and then I'm going to have the acts. I don't really need the label acts. It's going to be first place goes to the Harley D's, and I'm going to say from, make that label a bit smaller and move it across. You can just use the arrow keys, sometimes that's easier on your keyboard to make it go across, and then the number of votes may or not. They will be, one thing this question always does is it's very precise in telling you which fields you need to have on your final report, and those are the fields obviously you need to have in your query. I'm just going to make this, center this, go back to home when you want to center, maybe make this a little bit, give this an underline, maybe make it bold and a bit bigger. As I say, this won't be for you to guess, this will be given to you in the paper. You'll be told exactly how they want this to look. It might not be a certificate, we will practice for other things. And then the final thing we need to do is we need to change the properties. So in the properties, we're just going to go to design view, and then I'm going to the details. I want the properties for the detail, right click and properties. And all I'm going to do is in the format for the details, I'm going to say force new page after section. After section. And what that will do, if I just go to print preview, you can see each time, each certificate is printed on a new page. First, second, third page. And that's obviously not the most ideal formatting, but you can play around with the formatting for the report. That's one of the options for the report. Another one I think might happen is that they might provide you with an image for the certificate's background, and I'll make another video for what to do if that's the case. If you want to make the fields wider, it's easier to do it in layout view, and if you want to make the fields if you need to actually change the sections and the properties, remember it's design view.